So I see you. For some reason, my video. Your microphone is unmuted. I need to zoom. How the hell do I turn my camera on? God damn it. All right. My audio, video on. Yeah, I can't see you either now. Well, I see this JPEG of you with a pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yes, there we go. I think I figured it out. Bam! All right.
Okay, let me make sure we're on live.
Oh, I see you. I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, man.
Okay, so let's see if we are on live here, and then we can continue.
So where's it streaming live to?
It's gonna be on Facebook and then on YouTube. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, we are on live.
Cool, man.
Okay, well, sorry for all those hiccups.
Oh, no, it's cool, man.
Nice to see you, man.
Heck yeah, man. I haven't seen you in years.
Long time.
I think since 2017, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so yeah, let me tell you what I'm doing. So my friend suddenly passed away June 7th, 2021. And then after we went to Boise for the funeral, I thought, man, I should appreciate those friends that I have when they're living. They're my favorite people. I should reach out to them, talk to them, see how they're doing, maybe showcase them on this channel, you know, so because life is short. So if we don't do this, when are we going to do it? So I thought I'd catch up with you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's an honor. I was flabbergasted when I saw your name pop up in my email.
Yeah,
it was, man.
So yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I want to get right to it. I guess the most important question is, who is Toney Rocks?
I've never been asked that question before. Toney Rocks is okay. I guess I give you the long ass story because you don't have anything to do and I don't have anything to do. And I'll probably bounce around. But the gist of it is I got tired of using my government name. I had named projects after, using my birth, well, not even my birth name, but my government name. And I just got tired of it because my government name isn't really who I am. That was a name that was given to me by a guy that adopted me, a guy that my mom married, and he adopted me so that I could receive his military benefits, which I'm eternally grateful for. But I never felt like that was me because his last name and his family, I have no ties to at all. Like I didn't grow up around his family. I was already probably 10 or 12 when I got adopted by him. So, which is a crazy situation that I'd never heard of before. This is my real mother, my birth mother that I've been with my whole life. And she marries this guy and he adopts me. He pretty much just gives me his last name so I can be a beneficiary. So I kind of got detached from my own self, and because I just didn't really feel like I was who they named me as, I made up my own name. But I didn't go, okay, I'm going to make up Toney Rocks. That came pretty like by accident. I was looking for a website name, and Toney Rock, because I was doing like progressive blues rock. Toney Rock was taken. Obviously, that's Chris Rock's brother, a famous comedian. So that website name was taken. I didn't want to use Toney Music because that was cheesy as hell. And I got impatient and just put, I just added an S to rock, and that worked. So I took it. But in the beginning of this iteration of my artist career, I was just going by Toney. But every time I would announce myself on stage, I would say, my name is Toney, simply Toney. And the people in the audience thought that my stage name was simply Toney. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't working. So I put on the Toney Rocks, and it's just stuck. And that was totally by accident. And I know it, like when you look at the name and Toney Rocks, it sounds a bit pretentious, but it really wasn't my approach to it at all. I just wanted to get a website, and I just got tired of digging around for names, and I threw an S on rock, and it worked out. But who I am, it gives me the ability to say things that I want to say, and tell the stories that come out of me without being held to the account of my family name. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. So you grew up with a mother who was a performer, and what was that like?
So growing up until I was about 10 or 12, I can't remember, it was always, for the most part, except for maybe a couple of years when I was about 2 or 3 years old, my mom had a boyfriend, and it was a live-in situation, but I was so young that I really only have like 2 or 3 snapshots in my mind of that time. After that, up until I was about maybe 10 years old, it was just me and my mom. I never saw her with a boyfriend. I never had any contact with my biological father. He left. Finally, the last time he saw me, I think I was 3 years old. It was on my 3rd birthday. And so up until my mom married the guy that adopted me, It was just me and her. So that was all I knew. So I didn't even have a question about anything being wrong with that. You know, I had no anger that my father wasn't there. I just knew my reality, and my reality was just, it was just me and my mom. So the weird stuff started happening when my mom married the guy that adopted me. Me and him never had an issue. Like, it was great, you know, from a 10-year-old standpoint. I thought the guy was really cool. He would take me on rides. He liked to go on rides just to the North Carolina border, because I'm from Virginia. I grew up in Hampton, Virginia, 18 years before I left for college. So he would literally just say, "Come on, boy, get in the car," and he just drive to the border, and literally we see the North Carolina, "Welcome to North Carolina" sign, and he would turn around at the next exit, and we just go back home. So as a 10-year-old kid, I'm like, dude, this is cool. You know, we're gonna take a ride. He had a Mazda Miata from the 90s, a little red convertible, convertible 2-door sports car. And that was his baby. He listened to music all the time. So as a kid, I thought he was taking me on a ride. As an adult, I'm going, this guy is taking care of his wife's kid. And the best thing for him to do to stay sane, or to give himself a release, is to go and take this 1.5, 2-hour drive listening to his music. And I'm just a tag along. You know what I mean? I realize that now as an adult, but that was a cool time, man. Unfortunately, him and my mom didn't work out. And that was the first taste that I remember of, you know, the revolving door. You know, the guy was here, now he's gone. And that affected me a bit, because I didn't understand the nature of relationships. Then I would say, so he was probably gone my 5th grade year, going into 5th grade. And then my mom ended up meeting another guy, actually my drum instructor, the summer of my 5th grade year, going into 6th grade. And they ended up dating. And after several years, they ended up getting married. And it became a hybrid household. He had 2 other kids at home and the older son that was out and grown. So it went drastically from just me and my mom to me, my mom, and this guy that she married that I thought was pretty cool, to him being gone. Then we got to sell the house that they built. So we moved probably 3-4 times in the same city. I never switched schools. I never had that thing going on. Then she, you know, started dating my drum instructor. So that's kind of weird when you're, you know, when there's an older brother involved, stepbrother, you know, you kind of the butt of the joke. You know, it's like, hey, yeah, my daddy's, you know, got your mom. So I had to deal with that. But you know, it wasn't that bad. It was a challenging thing trying to fuse the families. That didn't really work out entirely well, but it wasn't the worst thing. My stepfather wasn't abusive. I didn't feel neglected. I didn't feel necessarily teased or picked on. I just thought, when people get married and families combine, like, you naturally love each other and you naturally protect each other. And now this is my brother, this is my sister, but it didn't work that way. Which is, you know, it is what it is. So that's the story of that growing up, you know, between me and my mom. And then, you know, I graduated high school, went off to college, and I went back. I had to go back home years later. But other than that, you know, it's pretty cool. But that's my story from the beginning.
Let's get to your music. Maybe I'll let you do 1 or 2 songs, and then you can tell us about the genre of music and how you decided to play that kind of music.
Okay. Is there any particular song you like to hear, or you just want to play something?
Well, you can play well, we can talk about your new album, The Lies We Tell, or let's say this, I'll let you pick your favorite song and then we can talk about your motivation behind that song. But I like the new Lies We Tell.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Well, being that that's the latest kind of song as far as songs that I've released. Well, we'll get into that. I'll play the latest song only because it's kind of, you know what? I'll play a different song. I'm gonna play a song called "Run to the Night."
Yeah, I like that song too.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites, and one of my favorites that I can play with just an acoustic guitar. I don't need any weird pedals and stuff like that. Sunshine never been her friend, with a smile out of sight. Only the lucky eyes will see her dancing in the moonlight. She gotta run tonight. Left Austin at 17, vows to never go back. He stole her innocence. Well, oh, she won't forget that. She gotta run tonight, where it feels alright. Well, she's running, trying to get away from here, but it keeps coming, all the paralyzing fears. Oh, you can see it in her face. She can't find a place where the moonlight never felt so great in the still of the night. Her new life was worth the wait, hanging on with all her might. She gotta run tonight, where it feels all right, all right, yeah, she's running, trying to get away from here, yeah, she's running, all feels, well, she's running, trying to get away from here, yeah, she's running tonight. Tonight, running
thank you for that. Thank you for that number. Yeah. So
yeah, I hope it sounded okay coming through the phone.
Sounds pretty good. I think I don't know how it sounds when it's live, but it sounded good on my end. So
Cool, bro.
yeah. So well, tell me about your motivation for writing this song.
Well, that
Running.
song, I travel a lot, and I when I was in Delaware playing drums in a band, a blues band, I would be in bars a lot. In my personal time, I'm not really a bar guy. I know me, you, and I have gone to a couple of bars together. That was fun as hell. But on my own, I'm not really a bar guy. Oh yeah. Can't tell anybody. But the storyline is pretty much sitting at a bar, and there's a girl across the bar. Doesn't have to be a girl, but for this particular song, it's a girl. And she's pretty unassuming but interesting. Not necessarily from a I want to get with you standpoint, but just this lady looks interesting. I love to know her story. So anyway, I wiggle my way over and get to talking. And after a conversation that I think would maybe last 10 minutes, last an hour and a half, 2 hours, and this person takes me on this voyage of their life, and my mind is blown of like, wow, just from looking at you, I had no idea that your life was this deep and compelling, tragic, mostly tragic, because I'm drawn to the darkness. The light, the happy stories are cool, but I'm really fascinated by the darkness of life. And it comes out in my music because I kind of write from a dark place. So yeah, that's the gist of it. And I pulled from different experiences of that with different people, immerse it together into one song,
Yeah. So yeah, you and me met when you were on a tour. You toured through Montana. First time you went through Helena.
Yeah, man.
And what has it been like this last year and a half? Of have you been able to go on tour much?
I did 2 runs. Back in October, I did a run to Idaho and Oregon, East Oregon, place called Enterprise. That was a fun theater show that ended up being a live stream because of obviously the pandemic. But my show in Idaho was a live show in front of people, so that was cool, and it gave me a great. I needed that. I needed to get on the road. It wasn't even necessarily about playing shows. It was an excuse for me to get on the road. I need that. I need the motion. I'm incomplete without it. Then I got to do a show in June. I did a Juneteenth celebration in Aurora, Colorado.
Oh, wow. They have a Juneteenth celebration in Colorado.
Yeah. It was bizarre, bro. But it was fun. It was a fun gig. I appreciated it. So we flew out to do that. And then I'm going on tour. I'll leave Thursday, this coming Thursday. And then I'll do a 2-week tour. I have 5 dates, one in around Austin, Texas. I'll be in Denver, Lafayette, which is about half an hour, 45 minutes north of Denver. I'll be out in Creede, Colorado, which is in the Southern Rockies. And then I'll be in Grand Junction. Yeah.
Are you driving this time or are you flying?
Yeah, I'm driving this time. I'm taking my son out. My son is 14, and this is the first time he's gotten to come out on the road with me. So we're gonna do some camping up in the mountains, have some fun, man. Do some dad son guy bonding. It's gonna be rad. I'm excited to get on stage. I'm grateful, but I'm really more excited that my son gets to come out with me, and I get to finally show him these beautiful mountains and beautiful scenery, and he gets to see what his dad's been up to.
Does he play music? Your son?
He picks around a little bit. He has ukulele. He's doing a little singing. He fiddles around on the piano. I don't think he obviously he has an ear for it and a touch for it, but he's deep into science. That's really kind of his thing right now. But he does pick around on the ukulele. It sounds good. I like his voice. He has a really interesting voice. And plus he's kind of going through puberty, so it probably won't stay the same, but it's really cool to hear him just be vulnerable enough. What's that?
His voice is starting to break right now.
Yeah. So it's kind of deep. His singing voice is kind of deep, and it's cool. It's moody, man. It's interesting because he has no training. So he's just doing his thing, and that's what I really like. I had a lot of training when I was coming up, and as good as that is, it doesn't really do the soul much justice. So I had to spend a lot of years in bars and in clubs and theaters and on the road trying to find my artistry because I had so much classical training. I had to wean myself off of the theory and the paper and the all that stuff. So now these days I couldn't tell you. Obviously I could think about it and tell you what notes I'm playing and blah blah blah, what chords, but I couldn't care less. I just want, as long as it feels good and sounds good to me, that's what I care about. So, but with him, he's kind of the same way. He's not really into music theory. He's just kind of plucking around. He learns his favorite song and plays it the way that he can play it and sings it with his voice. It's really cool. Yeah. So we're going out. We'll leave Thursday.
So is he not doing school? Is doing school online, or is it?
Okay, so for most of the last year of school, he was definitely online. Now he's going back to physical school. They start September 1st. So we'll end in Colorado on the 27th. And I was gonna fly him, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna fly him. We're gonna continue this road trip. So I'm gonna drive him all the way back to start school, so we can really get the best out of this road trip, get the most out of it. I want him to see this great country and get to experience things outside of country living. But we're both country boys.
So this music, so the genre of music that you sing, what do you call it? What type of music is it?
Yeah, in terms of the music industry, they would consider it Americana, which is a blanket term for anything that incorporates classic American music, bluegrass, blues, country, a little bit of jazz, stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I lean to the kind of Western desert alternative country vibe. At least that's what comes out, and that's what I produce on the guitar. And I like that. I like that. I'm a big fan of the desert, and I'm a big fan of that Western kind of mountain living and style. Probably because I'm from Virginia, I just have a little bit of a country thing going on. But I started out, I've done all kinds of music. I've played drums in every kind of band you can probably think of: heavy metal, straight ahead jazz, bebop. I've played blues band. I was in a blues band for 8 years. My personal bands, I've done everything from world instrumental music, where I had like a 7-piece band, guitar player, sax player, keyboards, drum set. I was playing guitar and congas and singing. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff, man. I do a lot of stuff. I'm producing a country record for a country singer based out of Orlando. We're doing some music for a film, and then we're going to roll into his album. But my journey to getting here, where I'm at, was a bunch of different stuff. I started out when I left Delaware and hit the road. I went out by myself first, and I was playing electric guitar singing, and I had pre-recorded tracks running from my laptop. And that was actually pretty cool. It wasn't the best it could have sounded, but for what I was doing, man, it got me out of Delaware and it got me on stages, and that was really cool. So then the next trip, I took a real band out. I had a power trio, and we went out for two and a half months. 3 guys in a Chevy Astro van with with gear piled up to the brim. Man, that was fun. That was the funnest I've ever had on the road. And we were playing this progressive blues that I was doing, hard hitting stuff. It was great. It was a great time. When those guys went on to do other stuff, I ended up picking up bands, musicians, and forming bands in different places. So literally I could be in Atlanta tonight, I would have one set of musicians, and then tomorrow night I could be in St. Louis with a completely different set of musicians that I just met that night. I sent them the music a month or 2 or 3 in advance, and we get on stage and hopefully it works out. It didn't work out all the time. There was a couple times, man, it was bad, but I did that for a while, and I said, you know what? I don't like this. So I ended up picking an acoustic guitar up somewhere in Southern Oregon. And I started to incorporate that into my show. And then that over about a year and a half, I ended up not playing my Telecaster that much and started playing acoustic guitars. And the way that I write songs is it's very dependent on the instrument that I'm playing. So when I write a song on piano, to play it on piano, it's a totally different thing from when I write a song on a guitar and play it as an acoustic guitar and playing it by myself. Because you got to be able to, well, for me, I never wanted to be one of those very kind of lily soft, songwriters. I never wanted to do that because I come from the band background. So I play a lot in the deeper registers. When I started out, I was playing a lot of bar chords. These very big chords. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just I was making music based on what felt good to me. I wasn't trying to replace the bass player. I wasn't trying to replace the drummer. But because I'm a drummer originally, that was my first instrument at age 5 and classically trained. I played the drums all the way through college. I played with Richard Street in the Voices, which was a Temptation iteration of the Temptations, because Richard Street was a member of the Temptations, I think, after Paul Williams died. So I'm always trying. For me, I'm trying to hear the band because I'm used to that feel. So I naturally played the guitar in that way. So I kind of play like a bass player, a drummer, and a guitar player all at once. And so I was still playing blues music, and without the band, number one, blues music gets repetitive and the same thing very fast, even when you have a band. And when I got rid of the band and I'm still playing blues-based music, I really got bored. But the biggest thing that happened, I was in Winthrop, Washington, and I was playing the show to a packed room. It was me and Stuart Vasquez, who is a Latin percussionist from Seattle, Washington. Great conguero, man. I love playing with this guy. He's a sweet guy. He plays great congas. So we're playing this show, and literally, like, the people are like, if I'm on stage, I could reach out and touch somebody's nose. That's how close they are. And we play around the songs, and I stop the song. I'm about to go to another song, and I hear these 2 ladies talking. They're right in front of me. And one lady goes, man, these sound really good, but all the songs sound the same. She says it's in the middle of the show, and I hear her, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So now I got to think about this for the rest of the show. Dude, after that show, I scrapped about half of that set, and I just started writing new songs. And I said, I can't stand this blues thing because they all sound the same and they feel the same. And I'm bored, and the audience is getting bored. So that's where I started listening to artists like Vince Gill, Jackson Brown. I went on the Jackson Brown trip, man. I love that guy. I love his music. I think he's one of the greatest songwriters to ever walk the earth. And I started to expand my horizons, and I really got into folk music, Richie Havens. Even though Richie Havens didn't play intricate songs, he played very powerful, soulful songs. And it was more about his voice and how he commanded his voice. And then the other stuff around him was ancillary, but I really took to that. And I kind of became a folk musician. And when I started listening to Jackson Brown, I really started to become a vulnerable songwriter. I started to write. I figured out that I could no longer write about, BS. I needed to write real stuff. That's the stuff that my favorite songwriters write about. They write about real stuff. And so I started to really write about my life and the things that were on my heart, which, like I said before, it tends to be the darker sides of things. Yeah, I do write love songs, but they're few and far between. I kind of put my pain out through the pen. And I had to come to grips with that because it's not easy, because, those type of songs are harder to get traction with, because most people want to just hear the happy stuff and have a good time and dance. Well, once I got rid of the dance, I no longer was a dance artist. I no longer was an artist that made people dance at a show. And when I started writing about the darker side of things, that alienates some people that just want to focus on the happy, pleasant stuff. But that's okay. I had to really come to grips with, this is who I am as a songwriter. And until that changes, I have to live in this truth and do it to the best. It doesn't mean that I'm miserable, but there's been times where I've been miserable singing sad songs. But that's how I got to folk Americana music. And it's really, I like it. I like being able to express myself in this way, because I don't need anybody else. And that may sound selfish, that may sound rude, but I don't really care, because I've been out at this for years, decades, and I've done it every single way you can imagine. I've had my guys out with me for months, taking care of hotels and making sure they're fed and making sure they got a pocket full of money. And then I've had pickup bands that I don't know these guys from a can of paint. I'm gambling every single night, and I still got to pay them whether they perform well or not. I feel better and safer and more control when it's just me, because I know if something screws up, it's only one person to blame.
Yeah.
But my favorite guys can stand on a stage or sit on a stage in front of 2,500 people for 2 hours and nobody have to go to the bathroom. That's how compelling and strong their art is. And I want it to be that. I still want to be that. I want to sell out Red Rocks, which is 9,000 seats, just me. I think that would be so badass. It probably won't ever happen, but that's what I go into this game.
Well, it could happen in this life. You never know what's going to happen.
You're right.
But also, okay, so we've been talking for a while now. So let's get you to playing some music. So this new album that you have, maybe you could give us a sampling of how your music has evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, 100%. And that's good, because the song that I just played, Run to the Night, wasn't in the first bit of songs that I wrote and started touring. It was kind of in the Run to the Night came when at that time where I started writing meaningful songs. I watched the video on songwriting by Ralph Murphy, who is one of many hit songwriters from the country world years ago. And he had a couple of keys that really stuck with me. Number one, write songs about other people, because that's what most people will identify with. When you start off a song with I, most listeners check out, because you're not talking about them and you're not talking to them. They don't know who you are, nor do they care who you are. But when you start off a song about someone else, or when you say you, so when I say you as the listener automatically go, oh, he's talking to me. So when I wrote Run to the Night, the first line is sunshine never been her friend. Now the listener goes, well, who the heck is her? And why has sunshine never been her friend? Now I have them captivated. So that was kind of the start of me trying to write from within and not being about me. I was documenting life around me. With the new album, which is called 02-2420, featuring two songs, Lies We Tell and Wow. Lies We Tell came after a massive I hit a brick wall. I had burnt through yet another relationship, and my mind was just screwed up, man. I was it stems from we have this thing that we think we're building throughout our 20s, and then when we get into our 30s and we look back, or we look at what we have and you go, wait a minute, this is nothing anywhere near what I thought I was building. And as a matter of fact, I look back and I see all of the destruction that I've made from, particularly for me, it came in the form of relationships. And I just saw what would you call it? Embers, smoke, and destruction of the handful of relationships that I had sacrificed because of my tenacity for this guitar, as well as my frivolous activities with women that had nothing to do with my relationship. So I hit a brick wall, man. I had to I had to ask myself some serious questions. So Lies We Tell came, and I'll play it and we can talk a bit more about it. But this is like the impetus of my merging of the Americana folk with kind of Western country music. It's very much a spaghetti kind of tomorrow's Western space cowboy kind of thing when you hear the whole song. But with the acoustic guitar and just my voice, it's very frontier Western kind of thing. Where I am ain't where I thought I'd be. My whole life is looking back at me. Thought I found the one many ones ago, but they always found somewhere else that they'd rather go. Trying to think my way out my own head, staring at the walls, vandalized by the words they said. Sticks and stones break my bones, but the words hurt like hell. Wish I'd realized just who I am before they were lies to tell. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, living in the lies we tell. Just a man trying to leave his mark on the world, slamming in the roadblocks, turning the good heart cold. Well, they'll take your manhood with your pride, won't let you see your child. Cost a fortune just to prove your name, drag you through a heartless trial. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, lies we tell. Whoa, living in the lies we tell.
Thank you, brother, for that. I love that song. That's a nice song.
Yeah, that last part got the best of me. But yeah, man, I like that song. It's a lot of bits and pieces of my life over the last to 7 to 10 years. I like that song. It's vulnerable. It's revealing, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's some darkness in there. I think there's a deeper meaning there that you're yet to tell us.
Yeah, but with that last part, the bridge, the instrumental part, I feel like it has some optimism, like, but it's gonna be okay, you know. But yeah, man, I go. The part that I was really thinking about when I was playing it just now was they'll take your manhood with your pride, won't let you see your child, cost a fortune just to prove your name, drag you through a heartless trial. And that's about, my youngest son, you know, for whatever reason, his mother felt like, he didn't need his dad. So that kind of came up in the song. And that's a big thing, man, on in our society, man. Families are under attack in the relationship between father and son or father-daughter. It seems like the father isn't valued. We're disposable. And any old guy can come in and take our place, but it doesn't work like that. That really leaves a void in the child's heart. And I know that void because, like I said earlier, my father, vacated the scene. And I actually about 2 years ago, I met my father for the first time. I guess in 34 years.
What was that like?
Yeah, he's been he lives about an hour and 15 minutes away from me. He's been in Largo, Florida for about 25, 30 years. And yeah, I ended up meeting him and, investing some time over the last 2 years into trying to build a relationship. And, that is what it is. But man, it's a big thing, man. It's a big, it's an epidemic that doesn't get enough attention.
Well, yeah, the system is a little difficult. They don't have good solutions. The law doesn't have good solutions for family problems. The law is a hammer. Everything's a nail. So.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's the story behind that song. One of them.
Yeah. So I know we're gonna do this more times in the future. I like talking to you, and I like so I don't want to take up too much of your day today. It's been a riot, man. It's been fun getting to catch up with you for a few minutes. Yeah, like I told you before, you're one of my favorite people, though I don't get to see you. So I get to tell you that you're one of my favorite people that I've met in this life. And so you know how I feel about you.
I really appreciate that, man. I feel the same way, man. I meet a lot of people out here, but you're one of the many people that I've met, but one of the few that have stuck in my heart and in my mind. I really like you as a person. You're fun, man. You're so beautiful as a person. Man, we've had some good times, man. I can't wait to have more good times.
Well, whenever you're in Tacoma, stop by. You'll always have a place to stay. And so anyway, I'll let you finish us off with a couple of songs, one song or two, and then we'll do this again.
100%. I'll play the second song off of the new record. Yeah, so this is a song called Wild. Not wild, but wild. And I was hanging out with a girl years ago, and she like, you know, we all kind of vent and rant about, you know, life, but she always had a very victim kind of standpoint of everybody's piling up on me. And I'm like, dude, like, while you're sitting here all torn up about what this person said and this person doesn't like you or blah, 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 that person's living their life. They don't even, not only do they not even know how they affected you, they don't even care how they affected you. Yet you're sitting here tormented by it. So it was, you know, the premise was, while you let them push you around, they're off living as if you don't even exist. They don't even care. So I wrote this song as a kind of a letter to her, which I never sent her the letter, obviously, but she inspired the song. So this is Wild. Time keeps dripping down the drain while they drive your head insane. They don't have to speak, 'cause you know what they're saying. While you let them push you around, now they're watching what you say, just so they can lie away. You don't have to stay, 'cause you know what they're doing. While you let them push you around, you keep beating up yourself, taking blame 'cause they up and left, sold you on a dream, but didn't really mean it. While you let them push you around, while you let them push you around. You've been taking back yourself, replacing what fell off the shelf. Now you're running free. Well, don't you fuck around and blow it while you let them push you around. While you let them push you around.
My friend Tony, yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. Let's keep doing this. Let me know how you're doing. We can talk more. If you are in the middle of your tour and you have some time and you want to talk, we can catch up again.
Yeah, man. Maybe we could do something like before a show on stage, so everybody can kind of see, my office, my mobile office, and we play some songs and talk, and it'd be cool, man.
Let's do that. I'll be excited to do that.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother. You take it easy.
Yes, if you want to send us off with another number, and then we'll just log off, and afternoon well spent, man.
Cool, man. Sounds good. This is one called Your Way. And pretty much I've had a life of people telling me that I should get a real job sometime. And this is where that comes from. It's called Your Way, man. I appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to you again. But we'll obviously text back and forth, but this is fun. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Ain't it about time you stop looking around for a treasure you might never find? So many things you've lost. Is it worth the cost just to say you got it your way? All your friends, they passing you by, whipping nice cars, now they want a big house. So what you gonna do when it's all too late for you just to say you got it your way? Just to say you got it your way. Man, you think you know it all. Got a good reason every time you fall. When I go with it all, say to hell with you. Ain't it about time you settle down? Found a nice girl, better stick around. Keep this going on. Gonna die alone just to say, got it your way. Just to say, got it your way.
Toney Rocks, ladies and gentlemen.
Cool, man.
Bye-bye.